Curbelo is going to Congress. From a packed GOP primary field to knocking off a sitting congressman by about 5,000 votes, Curbelo rode the Republican wave election and now has his seat in Congress. Mr. Curbelo joins the largest Republican majority in the U.S. House of Representatives since the Herbert Hoover administration. And joining me now, the newest congressman from South Florida, Carlos Curbelo. If I could say, Congressman-elect Curbelo.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. How does that feel to
Oh gosh, it's kind of weird to be honest with you, but it's a great honor for me, and I'm very thankful to the community for giving me this privilege. They've honored me, and I hope to honor them every day with my work. It
was a hard-fought win. Now, in retrospect, as you look back, would you have done anything differently?
Look, I wish the tone might have been a little nicer. I think a lot of people are frustrated and disillusioned with politics, and I'm not sure that this campaign helped mitigate that. But, you know, these campaigns take on a life of their own, and there's a lot of reaction to accusations and statements that are made. So that's just the nature of it. But if I could change the tone a little bit, that would be the one thing.
Are you relieved that it's over? Are you anxious to get started? What are your feelings right now?
I'm tired, and I thought that I would have a couple days to just kind of catch my breath and get some sleep, but it's been a whirlwind ever since. But I feel very blessed. I'm not complaining. I feel privileged, honored, and I'm really looking forward to serving this community.
Let's go back to Tuesday night, election night. Joe Garcia called you?
Yeah, he was very cordial. I can't thank him enough for doing that, because although it's the right thing to do, a lot of people don't end up doing that after elections. So we had a very nice conversation. We actually agreed to get together in the coming weeks to ensure a smooth transition from the office that he now runs to the office that we're going to run. And I also want to, you know, learn from his experience serving this district over the last 2 years. So I think that'll be a nice picture. Maybe we'll put it up on Facebook or something for people to see.
Do you actually think after all of that you can have cordial conversations and really help each other in terms of this next phase for you?
I really do. Look, for me, politics has never been personal. The campaigns are intense. Everyone fights to win, like a football team does every Sunday. But after the game, I think everyone should shake hands and help the community heal. And I really think we need that, Jackie, because people need to be inspired again. People need to believe in their government, in their leaders. We haven't seen that for many years in American politics, especially not in our community. And I hope to contribute to making that better.
Why do you think you won? Because Joe Garcia said you spent a lot more money in the campaign than he did. Why do you think that you were victorious in this election?
In reality, his campaign raised a lot more money than I did. He's referring to outside groups, but he actually had a lot more resources to spend than I did. I really think that this community was ready, and I think it showed on Tuesday, to give a new generation the opportunity to present our ideas, our solutions, come in with a new style, perhaps a different way of doing things, maybe even a different tone. And I think that's really what pushed me across the finish line. And I think there's also just a lot of frustration with the status quo. We saw that throughout the country. A lot of incumbents lost. So it was, you know, a national mood that showed here at home.
You talk about pushing forward, and a lot of people didn't expect that right off the bat you were leading in this election and never lost that lead. Were you surprised at all by that?
No, we worked really hard. We called hundreds of thousands of homes. We knocked on tens of thousands of doors. I shook I don't know how many hands. So we really worked hard, and I think the policy proposals that I put forth, tax reform, education reform, immigration reform, getting, you know, the idea of getting things done in Washington, D.C., working with Republicans, with Democrats to push forward a national agenda. You know, the Clinton-Gingrich model, they didn't like each other, but they got things done. Reagan, O'Neill, they got things done. I think people are looking for that, and I talked a lot about that. I showed a willingness to do it, and I'm going to do it when I get to Washington.
We're looking at a video right now from election night, and you were celebrating after your big win. You had some help also from, like, the Diaz-Balart brothers and Leanna Ross-Layton and a lot of people that really came out and supported you.
Yeah, those are good friends who I've had the privilege of working with throughout the years. I've learned a lot from them. I think they've been effective leaders in our community. And I also had, Jack, I have to mention, a lot of support from my family. My wife, this was a big sacrifice for her. My parents, I'm an only child, so you can imagine how happy they are. They were my hardest working volunteers. It was a family affair. And again, we're all very thankful and feel very blessed.
What's your first priority when you get to Washington? What is it that you want to accomplish the most?
Well, for a freshman member in a chamber where seniority is very important, relationships matter. So I hope to make relationships with more senior members of Congress, both in my party and in the Democratic Party, so that we can really push forward an agenda that this country can be proud of. I think tax reform is critical. You heard both Republican leaders and the president talk about a willingness to sit down and get some things done. I think tax reform is one of them. Tax reform is going to help stimulate job creation in this country. It's going to keep American jobs here. It's going to lead to more investment into our economy and create more jobs for people. Immigration reform, we know how important that is for our community. I've criticized the president in the past for playing politics with immigration. I've criticized some Republicans for blocking immigration reform. I believe we can get it done in this Congress, and I will sit down with any Republican and with any Democrat who wants to get this done. And there are a number of other issues too. The Keystone Pipeline, which will help us become more energy independent, and it will create approximately 10,000 jobs. I think the prospects of that passing are good as well. I hope to be a part of a national agenda that will create jobs and restore people's trust and confidence in the government.
I'm curious about your perspective, because Republicans won big on Tuesday night in both the House of Representatives and in the Senate. Do you think this was an indictment on President Obama?
I think it was an indictment on our political system and the status quo. Obviously, the president has made mistakes. I think people feel less safe today than they did some years back because the terrorist threat has grown, and he had called this ISIS group a JV team, and a lot of people just kind of lost trust and confidence in him. You know, Obamacare made a lot of promises. Like I told you before, I think there are some things worth keeping in Obamacare, but the law needs a complete overhaul. Most Americans still don't approve of the law and want to see it changed. So yeah, I think, you know, the president is certainly responsible for his party's defeat in many ways, and people beyond that are just frustrated at the political system, at the establishment in Washington, the status quo of the last 4, 5, 6 years where really nothing gets done and there's just a lot of bickering. So that's what I think the American people were trying to convey Tuesday night with their vote.
Let's take a few steps back, because you're still a school board member. So what are the plans? When are you going to resign from that position?
I'm going to meet with the school board attorney in the coming days and figure out all the mechanics. I want to make sure the school system gets treated fairly in this whole process. My time there has been very rewarding. I feel like we've gotten a lot done, and I want to make sure that the governor has all the information and the time he needs to make an appointment, because the governor will fill the vacancy on the school board until the next countywide election. So yeah, we got to get that done, and I really hope that we get a good appointment on that school board, because things are really running smoothly there, and we got to keep that going.
Is there something that you wish to accomplish before you step aside from the school board?
I can try, but I only have a couple meetings left. You know, the school system, there's always room for improvement, but we've come a long way. We've gotten a lot done. The quality of education in this community has gone up over the last few years. We've kept taxes low. We've given teachers raises. They deserve more, but we've given them raises when you look you know, throughout the state. I feel very proud of what we've done. I commend my colleagues, because they've been great colleagues, and the superintendent, Alberto Carvalho, who has just been an exceptional leader. Our board chair, Perla Tabares-Hatman, is just a wonderful team.
Well, Congressman-elect Carlos Curbelo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good luck to you. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you a lot here on NBC6 Impact. We're going to hold you up to that. And still to come here on Impact.